You guys hear me in Discord? For some reason it's got my back camera on, but that's alright. I was trying to get both cameras going here. And let me know if you can hear me in YouTube. That's alright. I was trying to get both cameras going here. I can hear myself, so. You guys hear me in Discord? Let me go to that channel here. You got me? All right, thank you. Thank you, Dan. I'll be back in that 1 minute after the disclaimer. There's nothing happening right now.
But are part of most economic debates now. Again, speaking on Bookmap Ltd.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial, and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial stability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites or digital venues for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will profit by losses made limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept full responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment in most Apple Trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers harmless without reservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations, some of which are described herein. No representation is being made that any account will result to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit of hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program is why trading losses are material ones which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these traits have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may not or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to markets in general and to implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in preparation of hypothetical performance results in all, of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
Alright, good morning. So if you're watching me on YouTube, you got my
expecting comments from ECB syndicates as well.
Front camera. I was trying to get both cameras so you guys can see my setup. In Discord, you can see the setup here. It's pretty funny. Let's see.
Fed Waller says smaller tariffs will have a modest pass-through.
You can kind of see what I'm looking at here with all these, I got these bigger screens, and then actually there's more screens to the right here, but you can't see that on YouTube. I just thought I'd give you guys a look. Alright, got Fed chirps right now. You were still in YouTube and you were hearing that. I don't know what you're hearing. You guys can see me in YouTube, right? Good morning, Tracy. All right, I tried to do the multi-camera, but it's not working. Fed chirps right now. There's just nothing going on as far as my driver of my trading are the Stop Iceberg events, and this one was close down here. But again, I have certain thresholds for every market that I trade that I look at. I'm watching about 13, 14 markets at a time at once, and I'm just looking for these iceberg events. So there was something, I do have a trade on here in crude. I'm short crude here. There was an event pre-market buy ice that was into an important area. So the method of my trading is I'm looking for these real-time volume events, which are the most powerful thing I've ever seen in futures trading, and I'm looking for these events in my important areas. So my important areas, for instance, this is a Izzy short that I took, inflection zones. So these are zones that I draw every day that are based on the four important areas of trading: tops and bottoms of balance areas, high volume nodes of balance areas, which is just basically the middle of a balance area. Balance area is just traders placing bets, right? Longer term traders, shorter term traders, long short, long short. So the markets are they're in one of two states always. They're either balancing or they're trending. Balancing or trending. We got something in gold here. I'll come back to this crude trade in a second. Something real time. We got some sell stops. So step one is obviously identifying the event. This is the, let me turn this down a little bit. So this is showing me that there were 271 sell stops here. We have distinct setups. I have distinct setups that I use, that I name these. So this is, I don't know what this is yet, depending on which way this breaks out of here, but usually stop runs are fades where it's the retail trader puking. It's not initiative selling by bigger players, and it usually reverses. Again, it could hold. We call it a stop and hold, and that usually means there's big money behind it. So the way I judge these is how it gets out of this, when it's able to push out of this zone. So the current ATR is 56, meaning it's rotating 56 ticks, 57 ticks every 5 minutes. I'm using a 5-minute ATR, average true range. The best way that I've determined from watching thousands upon thousands of these over the last 8 years is to wait. For most of my strategies, I just don't jump in the middle of the event. I wait for it to push out an ATR above or below to decide which way I'm going to trade. Well, put the trade on long or short, right? So, again, I have a couple strategies.
Not getting any audio in here in Discord.
Oh, you're not? Hold on. Sorry, guys. You hear me now?
Yep.
Sorry about that. Got about 15 things I was doing there. Sorry.
No problem.
I couldn't.
By the way, there's a new course on the Learning Center if you want to mention to people.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
I just saw that, and then you guys also have to verify your Bookmap. So you're on here now, Bruce. You might as well talk about it.
For Discord. Yeah. You'll need to do. Everyone will need to do that by Friday tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm trying to find
Anyway,
the.
that's everything, Scott. I'll let you go.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. Bye.
But so what he's referring to here, I'm trying to find it real quick. There is something in ES. I'll come back to that in a second. We just had an event in ES here. So you can see bias is coming in here. So we have new trades. So I'm adding strategies all the time. So when referring to these strategies, these are just, again, my areas I'm looking for volume events, right? So these newer ones where I will jump in the middle of the zone. We have the sexy Gexy, it's called. So you're looking at it for opposing events at these Gex levels. So these are Mentor Q levels. I use both Mentor Q and spot gammas. So these are just gamma levels that these options dealers have to hedge their positions on. So the usual trade is, as it comes into these areas from below, you'll get that kind of reaction from the dealers that are hedging their options, right? So in this case, I wouldn't take a sexy Gexy because this is actually bias. So I know dealers will be hedging here. It may move lower, but the big money is buying here, right? So you can see this hidden buy iceberg. It's about 1,000. And again, icebergs are hidden orders in the order book until they're triggered, right? So they only have to display a portion. I think it's 10%. So they only had what this probably looked like a second ago. Is look like there's 100 in the order book, right? And the minute they start to sell into it, you see that red bubble market selling. Then it triggers the rest of the iceberg. So it's like they get a mouthful of orders that they didn't know were there. Whoever was selling here, right? So that they do that to try to hide from these algos, because if they put 1,000 in here that they wanted to buy, these algos love to front run them and push it up and make them chase the price. They think they're going to chase the price, and then the algos put all their offers in and get better fills on their offers. So that's the game that goes on in here. So the big money hides their orders with icebergs many times, right? So regardless, this is not a sexy Gexy for me. I need to see sell ice into these levels where I'd have dealer hedging and the big money selling. The big money's buying here, so there's a little battle here. As far as that trade, so I have no trade there, but now I have other potential trades here. So again, this is buy ice. I believe we're at the red Ludwig level. Let's take a look here. We already got new lugs in NASDAQ. So we are at the lug. So again, these are excellent support and resistance areas. The red lug is resistant. The blue lug is support. We have trades called an I lug you. This is a strategy. Again, it's a iceberg at the lug. We call I say lug short for Ludwig level, so I'd say Ludwig level 85 times in the webinar. Iceberg at lug. So again, this is just like the sexy Gexy, where I will not take this trade aggressively. We just saw the red lug. If this was sell ice, I would take it immediately, meaning first move out of the zone. So again, when we just talked about, you probably didn't hear me in the Discord because I was on mute, but the way I judge these zones is if it could push the ATR out of the event. So right here we have buy ice. If it could push the full ATR, and right now the ATR in ES is about 8.5 points, then that tells me that it's much more likely to move lower than higher based on my rules of watching tens of thousands of these, right? So there's very few, what I was explaining before, there are very few trading strategies that I will jump in right in the middle of the zone. So regardless, if this does fail, this would be a broken ice event. So I have 6 distinct setups that I look for that I named, this when my SI Stop Iceberg course goes over, right? So this would be, I don't know what this is yet, I judge when it moves out of here. So if this holds, this would be a Titanic setup. So it's the market basically selling into big buy orders that hold. If it breaks, well, whoever this is not right, and then I call it broken ice. So again, for this area right now, I'm not doing anything till this can show its hand, whether it can move an ATR out of here. So what I was getting at though, if this was sell ice, and at the red Ludwig level, the resistance level, I would sell the minute it broke outside of an ATR here, right? It's buy ice, I'll still take the trade, I lug you, but because it's buy ice, I need to see ATR, retest, confirm. And then we have trading strategies that actually play for that movement back to the event, which happens all day, every day, in all these markets. So there's already been a few today. There's been very few events today, but there was one in crude, right? So I am short crude. We'll go over this trade again. I was getting into it and I got to sidetrack, but you can see it. This bias came in, it moved the ATR out of here. That would be the entry. So all these lines, we'll go over these lines. It looks like I have so much on this chart, and I really don't. You can see the algos in here. It looks like a Christmas tree, but these lines, especially these red lines and these dash lines, they're the reversion trades where we play for a move back to the event. So that actually, someone in my trade room actually caught this and commented on it today. That was the 1 ATR entry right there. The stop was this dash dotted line. Never got stopped out. Back to the zone. You're out. So this is the best way to scalp that I've seen. Again, I used to be one of the biggest scalpers on the planet a long, long time ago, but the point is I used to just scalp off the dome, depth of market. Can't do that anymore. It's very difficult because you're going against computers. I was one of the fastest in the world, and I couldn't make it after a certain period of time because I was not as fast as a computer. So again, I made millions of dollars at one point doing that. If I could still do it, I would be doing it, right? So I had to adjust my trading style, like happens with most traders, right? Something works for a given period of time and then it stops working. So this stuff's been working for about 8 years and it continues to work because we're looking for these concentrated volume events, which are just golden. Again, it's the strongest edge I've ever seen. So anyway, the reversion trade back to these events is the best scalping method that I've seen, and most traders love to scalp. So also I just put out 2 different courses. So I put out a new course on all these trading strategies, right? I'll put this in the room here. So this is the trading strategies course right there. Oh, this is the reversion course. So the reversion course, what I was just talking about, that we have rules for the move back to the zone. So this is a great example this day. This was actually a back in black in the ES where it bounced off. It's one of the reversion trading strategies where it bounced off the GEX levels back to the zone. So this has all the 4 different reversion trades, the disqualifiers. So that's the new course there. And then the other new course is the trading strategies course where I go over. It's literally 7.5 hours of content that I go over 16 different strategies. So again, my strategies are just areas that I look for. So all of these are in the course. And the great thing about those courses too is they're continue education too. So as I add new stuff, which I will, there will be many, many more strategies coming, and maybe ATR, different ATR trades, so on and so forth. They'll be added, and then you'll get access to those as I add them for life. So I'll put this in the YouTube channel here. That is the document on that. I'll put it in the Discord too. I don't think I put it in recently. And again, this is just sitting here. I don't know what I'm doing with this event yet. We'll go over the different areas we may be in besides the Ludwig level here. But let me post this in the Bookmap Discord. I can never find my channel here. Here it is. So this is in the text channel. All right, Stephen got me. Thank you for letting me know, Stephen. So I didn't hear you tag me there, but thank you. So again, while I'm at it, the Bookmap stuff, you need to verify your email going forward. They put this in, hold on, I'm trying to find right here. So get verified here. Maintain your access service. Please head to the Bookmap verification on the Discord and put your email and link the email that you subscribe to Bookmap with. It only takes a minute, so you got to get that to be able to access the Bookmap Discord going forward. So make sure you do that. And then if you have questions, throw them in YouTube, because it's hard. I can't go back and forth, especially if things are rocking and rolling, which they're not right now. Literally, these markets are just waiting for the next headline. It's been absolutely brutal. We'll get into that. Yesterday was a doozy with the Wall Street Journal fake news that got absolutely run over on. We'll go over that though. All right. So anyway, I am short in Izzy's trade here in CL. So we had a broken ice setup. This was this. You don't see it on here because this was pre-market, but I used someone, actually someone in my trade room caught this trade, the reversion trade, and I was able to draw the zone off of his post, right? So this is what I want my trade room doing. Right, so he caught this. Start off the day with a 1 ATR win. So that was the ATR I was showing you. So anyway, I drew the zone because it was before I got to my computer. So that was this event, but then I saw that this event happened in an important area, my inflection zone, and I put on the short. And we're actually at a level right here. It is bouncing off GEX 2, so these are areas where I'll get out of some of the trade. So I'm going to get out of a third here. See where else we're at too. Okay, so I'm actually going to get out of half. I'll go over here this in a second. All right, so I had 12 on. I'm out of 6 of them. So we have a GEX level. We already know, we just talked about this, that dealers will be hedging here. Doesn't mean it's 100% going to bounce, but I try to monitor it. And if I see it struggling, then I'll get out of some. And then this was confluent with another very important area, which this is why I got out of more. You can see here, this is the bottom of this market profile composite too. All right, I got to go back to this. So there was a retest of that goal. I missed it. I was going to take a reversion trade there, and I got sidetracked. Anyway, this is the bottom of this guy, right? So we had the GEX level and the bottom market profile composite. I was short off that Izzy zone, and I just got out of half my position there. So the Izzy zone, again, I showed this right when we get on. Of course, I lost the chart here. Where is it at? Right here. So this market opened up. It moved into this inflection zone here, this white zone, and I had the broken ice event, and I took the trade. So this is also in another inflection zone. It's also the market profile composite, and it's the GEX level, so that's why I got out of a couple here. What I am keeping an eye for here, so this is one bigger balance, so balance areas are just fractal, right? The bigger they are, the more important they are, the bigger the move out of it when it does break out of it. But within balance areas, again, it's fractal. You can have hourly balances, 5-minute balances. You know, the smaller the time frame, the less powerful they are. It's still important, but this is an hourly. So what I'm watching for here, and this is already kind of giving me a hint this may happen with this selling tail, right? Selling tails are instant rejection. If this gets through this high volume node here, the middle of the balance area, we have a trade for that called fail balance breakout. It's the best trade in trading, position trade in trading that I've seen, based on, that's my opinion, but it's the best trade I've seen. So if I get any events below, I'd say line in the sand here. Again, the high volume node is just a general area. I'd say anything below 62, I will take fail balance breakout. Then I can watch for also for the bigger balance breaking away trade if it breaks out of there with heavy relative volume. And then you'd be breaking out of this guy too. So this would be another strategy. I'll go over these here. I'll show you here in text in a second, but this would be a breaking bad too. Current balance breakout, break down in this case through the high volume node of prior balance. So we've got a bunch of trades that are potentially brewing here. Still got a ways to go. We're at 62, 63, but anything below 62, I'd be looking for all those different types of trades, trading strategies, and I would take double size shorts in those cases. In the meantime, I am short right here. I got out of half. Those are not related to the trading strategies that I just talked about, but I will be alert for those if that happens. So these are the trading strategies that I was just covering. Fail balance breakout. In this case, try to break out of the balance. If it gets below 62, that would be in effect. Breaking bad, that bigger balance, if that breaks down, I need to see heavy relative volume over 200%. If that happens, I thought I had that in here. Best breaking bad. I'm sorry, I don't need heavy relative volume. Breaking bad's the current balance breakdown out of the most recent balance, or through the prior balance. I just covered that, and then breaking away. Break of longer term balance area with high relative volume. So those, it's not happened yet, but you got, whatever market you're watching, you got to be ready for this, because when stuff starts ripping around, and the events start firing off, you don't want to be scrambling to figure out where you're at, right? So I know below 62 here, I'm ready for those trades. And you can see this liquidity down here, all these liquidity bands down here versus, let's see, yeah, you can, like, you could come up with a thesis. So, I'm looking at that structure stuff, and that's what these trades are going to be off of if it comes down here. So you can also come up with a thesis on the day on which way the market's likely to head. So you can see this heavy resting liquidity down here. This is the big money that just. Well, then we got another yes. The longer it's been in here, the more these people want their this house or whoever it is, this entity, wants their fill, right? Because again, if something happens and the market rips down, they're okay with getting filled. That's why it's just sitting here, and it usually is a magnet. So that's probably where the market's going. All right, so this, now we got tick extremes. So this ended up being this buy ice just turned bullish here, and then we got new buy ice here too. So now we got other trades setting up. We have a potential A+ reversion. I'll go over that. In the meantime, positions trading wise, this is exactly why these gamma levels, these dealers did react here, but you were just fighting the big buy ice, right? And the buy ice won so far. So right now, at minimum, this is a bullish event, and I can take trading strategies bark and lick. Bark is short for, it's just an acronym for blind, meaning it could happen anywhere. We've been talking about these trading strategies that have to happen in an important area. Well, bark means because the edge is inherent in the volume event that's happening, right? So I want to take trades off of there if possible, even if it's in the middle of nowhere as far as my areas, right? So the B in the bark stands for blind, A stands for ATR, we hit the ATR, R stands for the retest of the zone, and then C for confirm. So if it comes back to this zone, moves back out, I can take a bark and lick off of that guy. A lick is a bark that's just trading for the heavy resting liquidity. I don't see anything up here right now, but I'm sure there's probably some. Yeah, there's some up here at these GEX levels. So that's what I'm waiting for this particular trade. I may be able to take an aggressive trade here, like right now. So this is breaking out of this smaller balance area, right? I just saw this, by the way. And we had the buy ice. So I would take a breaking away. Remember, we were just talking about breaking away short potential in crude. Well, it's happening right now. I need to see heavy relative volume on these breakouts of these balance areas because so often they're jukes, right? Like it's so obvious when markets are breaking out of balance areas that these algos love to snap it back on traders. So I demand big money behind the move out of here. I already know there's big money icebergs, but I want to see heavy relative volume, right? So again, you can see here there's no heavy relative volume right now. It's not even getting to 100% based on the last 30 days. So this is a Sierra chart relative volume, the one I like to look at. It's this exact time period based on the last 30 days. It gives me a very good indication if there's something bigger going on. You can see this is barely getting to 100%. What does that mean? It doesn't mean, it means if there's no big money playing, you're more likely to get algo type of trade, whipsaw trade, right? But in this case, I'm not taking the breakout of this balance because there's nothing behind it as far as, heavier relative volume. Yes, there's buy ice, but that's not good enough for me to take that particular trade. So that's one trade I could aggressive, meaning if there was heavy relative volume, I'd be jumping in this trade first move out of the zone, right? That didn't qualify there. Second here. Do we have more headlines? So this Fed guy keeps talking too, by the way. So they have minimal effect lately compared to these headlines, but we'll get into that here in a second. I'm looking to see if there's another trade I can take off of this. I'm a little late on this. This is a perfect example, right? I should already know my areas, whether I'm going to be going long on different strategies, and I did. We got new lugs, so it blew through that lug. This did break out of this. I probably got to take a pick here. We got the volume event, so this is market profile composite. These are days, value areas of days, merge of value areas, just where 70% of the individual days, like this was an individual day, that's an individual day. If they overlap, I could have probably merged those three here. Let me merge these in and see what this looks like here. If they overlap, then I merge them, and the more days you have, the more powerful it is, just like a balance area. So you can see here, I could have taken a pick here aggressively if I wanted to. So the top of this was right around 54.18-ish. So that was this guy here. Wait, that's not right. Is it right? Why is this showing 50? Yeah, I guess that's right. This is very compact. So there was no pick here. It was already out of that area. So I didn't really miss a trade here. So the event happened up here near 54.40. All right. So there was no pick for me on that trade. So I didn't miss anything there. So in the meantime, right now, all I'm really watching for my strategies is a bark and a lick, right? There's nothing else to for me on the long side to trade. Hold on one second here. Let's see what happened here. So this is a great example of the reversion trade again. This is gold, right? I wouldn't have taken this one. You can take them aggressively, meaning as they run into these reversion. That's the one reversion, that dotted line. Here's the 2, the 3 is up here, and then this is the stop for the 1, the stop for the 2 is up here. So again, you can take them aggressively, meaning first move in no matter what, or you can wait for it to bounce off something. On these webinars, and usually when I'm trading, you know, not on webinars, I wait for it to bounce off something. I wouldn't have taken this one regardless, but just to show you how often this happens. Like I already showed you one in crude. Here's one in gold. And I could have potentially taken some bark and licks here, but I missed that trade. All right. Somebody keeps buying here. Again, for my strategies, there was nothing for me to go long off of these, right? If they retest these zones and you got more bias coming in again here, so whoever's buying this it's working out for them, right? For my strategies, there was nothing to take aggressive longs here, so I'm just out of luck for this move, because they didn't fit my strategies, right? If you had something here that you said, oh, I love the long here, or I'm taking that breakout trade, well, not only was it breaking out, then you got the buy ice, so you saw the big money is buying, and it was confirming an ATR out of these zones, right? So this one's now bullish too. So there's a couple different things I can trade here. Well, actually one now. Remember, I was waiting for that, and you can hear these tick extremes too, which gets really, really annoying. So tick extremes just is the NYSE tick here, hitting plus 1,000 or more. So again, out of the universe of stocks, 5,000 plus stocks are upticking at the same time. If you get 1,000 or more, it's usually, especially if it hangs up here like this, it's program buying, meaning the funds are buying like the huge basket of stocks. So that's what that's telling you. NASDAQ hasn't hit its extreme yet. So it's just good information to watch. You know, a lot of times there's fade traders that wait for these tick extremes and then they fade the move. Well, if it's just hanging up here, be careful fading the tick extremes, because it means the bigger money is playing in this case. And you can see here too, we saw this the other day, and I actually got run over in some trades fading this type of move. The hero is moving higher too. So you got this options dealer activity. It moved. Brent from Spot Gamma talks about a notional $1 billion or more is a lot. So you can see this has moved $1 billion, almost $2 billion now. So you have options flow dealer. So the dealers, all this is showing you is they are on the other side of this trade. So somebody is buying options right now. The dealers are on the other side, so they're selling options. So the dealers have to hedge. They have to buy futures. So that's helping the move as well. So not only do you have the big money in here, and they could be the same entity. I don't know if dealers are using icebergs or not. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, hero's moving higher and someone's buying here as well. So this is both helping this market to just continue to go higher. For my strategies, there is nothing for me to go long here yet. So what I was getting at, that's the natural gas number. I was waiting for an ATR retest of that. That never happened. Then this came in. And I could do the same thing with that guy. What I'm always doing, though, is I'm defaulting to the most recent event, right? So if this comes back to this zone, I can still take that bark and lick trade as long as this guy doesn't prove bearish, meaning tag the ATR below, right? So and we'll cover that if this happens. In the meantime, I can take reversion trades here, right? So back in blacks. So that is the reversion trade where you're waiting for it to bounce off an important area and you take the corresponding ATRs coming back to the zone, right? So you see up here, I wouldn't take anything right here because the first reversion's up here. So what I would watch for here, if this market does come up to this GEX 3, this just means it's the third highest GEX level on the board, gamma level, where dealers are hedging. If it starts to fade off of that, I can take the 1 ATR, and you can see there's a spot gamma GEX level here too. So if it tagged this and starts coming back, I would take the 1 ATR reversion short. Then we have other types of reversions here too. So we have a potential A plus reversion. So again, the markets come back to these zones with ridiculous regularity on their own. And then when you have either a GEX level to help it back, or in this case, an A plus reversion is when it comes into a prior event. And you can see that entry for the 1 is right back into that other buy ice. What is going on here? So if this did come down here into this one ATR, I would take the aggressive. It's the A plus reversion back to the zone. So again, this is just all stuff that may happen, and I'm watching it, right? So if this, I will put my order in for this trade. So this A plus reversion is 53.75, and then the zone drawing tool, you can see this drawing. This is drawing these subchart events, right? So with the zone drawing tool, and Johan from my trade room, he's a programmer from France, brilliant dude, figure out a way to draw these events on the chart. I used to draw, if you got watching any of my webinars the last 8 years, and for Bookmap, is to draw these by hand. Very, very annoying. Now it draws this activity by itself. Not only does it do that, it tells you your exact position sizing. So for the reversion trades, say that happens, I know I can, and this is for $500 risk per trade, right? I know for the reversion trades, I can put on 0.9 of a contract, or you could put on a full one is fine, right? Or 9 micros. So if this happens, I'm going to put on a full one here, and I'm actually going to do it on this puppy. We'll get that set up if that happens. But anyway, this tells you the sizing, and if I'm going to take position trades, remember I was talking barks and licks, so I can still do that off of that potentially. And off of this guy, I could put on 0.4, risking $500. So again, the position tradings, I'm looking for bigger moves, and I'm getting out as it moves in my favor, kind of like you saw me get out of some of those crude shorts, right? So that was a position trade. That was the Izzy trade that I put on. And I got out of some of this Gex level, which it continues just to kind of struggle at, right? So I got out of half down here. And then the reversion trade is, like I said, more of a scalp, where you're just getting in, you know exactly where you're in. So for instance, that's the one. I get in there and I'm out at the zone. That's why it's like more of a scalp. Or if it did the A plus, I would take that one. You could take the ones, the twos, the threes, and then I always get, well, which one do you take? I don't know. If I knew, then I would be sitting on a desert island with Billy Ray Valentine, and because I know I'm all knowing in trading, right? Some days the ones work nonstop. Some days the ones get blown out and the twos work. Some days the ones and the twos get blown out, the threes work. The best way. So if you're going to, it's just like any other edge in trading, right? It's probabilities. You just keep taking the trade no matter what. And if you have an edge, you will come out on top, just like a casino dealing the cards, right? They know they have the edge of the game, and they just keep dealing the cards. With the reversion trades, a more secure trade is whether you're going to take the 1, 2, or 3. Again, wait for it to bounce off of a, for instance, in this case, a Gex level, and take that one. Say it ripped up through there and came to the 1-day max and started coming back. Well, then I would take the 2 and the 1 coming back. So these are just examples. I haven't done anything yet, but you know, the back in black reversion is probably the best one if you don't want to. You know, if you're sitting here and you want to be active, then you take these aggressively. There's a trader in my room. His name's Curious B. He takes them all aggressively, meaning as they move into these reversion, he's putting his order in and waiting for him to come back. I'm waiting for it to bounce off something and come back. That's why we call it the back door, where it's coming back into the reversion. So that's just brewing right now. So we'll see what happens up here. Again, I have no long on based on my strategies. That was a breaking away trade, or it was breaking out of that balance, but it didn't have all the factors for me to take the trade. But you know, this is what usually happens when it breaks out of balance, because these are traders. The shorts in here over the last day and a half are not feeling very good, and they're getting out of their trades. Surprised we haven't seen some stop runs here, but anyway, that is breaking out. So I'm going to watch this here. I'm not going to take this aggressively, right? I would be getting it right now if I'm jumping in this, and it may come back, and then I'm out of luck because I was waiting for it to tag. Granted, I could have probably taken that one off of the. So you know that's going to work now because I forgot about that. So I could have taken this one because it did bounce off this spot gamma level. And these are related, obviously. So I was waiting for this to bounce off the Gex 3, which it may still, and then I'm going to take the 1 ATR. Say it rips right through here, well then I'll watch for these coming back. So we'll monitor this. And then on the flip side, I'm watching for bark and lick on retest confirm out of this zone. Other than that, there's really nothing going on. I've been telling my trader, we've been talking about it for months now. It's like this trade has been so difficult as far as you have a great trade on. Like yesterday, I had a Dow trade on and a reversion trade, and it was golden. Like it was probably 10 ticks away from the fill, and then Wall Street Journal released a fake news story, and Dow ripped 350 points, ES ripped 65 points. So this is here's this tag, by the way. So if this comes back, I'm going to put this guy on. All right, so it just blew through there, so I'm not taking that back in black now. I want to see a bounce off of the area. It just blew right through this Gex level, so now I'm watching these. If this tags this and starts coming back, then I'll put them on. So this is a good example. Like if you're taking them aggressively, well, you know, you're still not stopped out. So this is a good segue into covering these lines, right? So if I take actually I took these off my chart yesterday. Hold on, I was on a session showing how you can turn them on and off. So the zone drawing tool, you can turn these on and off. So here are the stops for the reversions. This is what these red lines are. So again, it looks like I've got so much on this chart. Once you understand what it is, it's very basic. This is not rocket science, right? These are the GEX levels. These are Mentor Q GEX levels. These are spot gamma GEX levels. The blue lines, the ATR line, the yellow lines were all enter longs. And then you have the reversion trade. So the reversion, actually that's kind of struggling. Let me see, I might still put this on. Yeah, it blew through there, so I'm not going to put this reversion on. Again, it doesn't mean it's not coming back to the zone. I'm just demanding it holds at a level and then starts coming back. So this blew through it, so I'm not going to take this reversion trade. Anyway, this is the one ATR, that dotted line. This is the 2 ATR, and then the 3 ATRs up here. And I trade the fades back to the zone. And then these dashed red lines, dash dot lines, are the stops. So if I did put on this 1 ATR trade, the stops up here for that. And then the 2 stops up here, so on and so forth. So that's all it is. Once you understand what you're looking at, so again, I skipped this ATR trade, and so far it's ripping. Still got a way, if you did put that on aggressively, still got a way to go before you're stopped out. It's got to get through some major GEX levels to happen here. And you can use that to judge too if you want to take the aggressive, where you say, I'm going to put on this, my stop's way up here, it's got to get through this GEX level, these 2 GEX levels, this GEX level for me to be wrong before it comes back to the zone, right? That's a good strategy as well. In my case, I'm going to wait for it to bounce, see if we can get up here and bounce, and I'll take it coming back. I'm hoping it can get to the 1-day max, and then I'll put on the 2 and the 1 reversion back to the zone. In the meantime, I'm waiting for that, and I'll put on position trades. So again, I may miss this reversion. I'm making the choice not to put this on. I want to see it bounce off these GEX levels, and I'll put it on. All right, so it is a little subjective depending on what you want to trade here. Most of the stuff we do is black and white, but it does get to a point where you're like, well, should I put this on now? Like it's kind of coming back. It got through the main level that I was going to take the bounce, right? And I would have taken that. Doesn't mean it's not coming back right now. It probably will, but that's what I was demanding off of this trade, so I'm not taking it. If it does retest, confirm, then I'm going to put on bark and lick longs. All right, crude is continuing to fall. I'm still short half, 6 micros. I got a 6 earlier. Let's see what this is. Remember, below the 62 area, you can see this market's headed right down to this liquidity. So again, guys, these are magnets, right? The longer it's been in here, the more they want to get to fill. Say Saudi Arabia comes out and says we're flooding the market with supply. The market's going to blow right through these zones. They obviously don't care. That's why the longer it's in here, these guys are just the algo screwing with everybody, whipsawing. These guys are the big money that want their fill. So what does that mean? It means they're going to get their fill. Does it mean it's going to happen right now? No, but it's probably going to happen very soon. How do I know this? Because this is the game I used to play. I used to load it up. When I traded the E-mini S&P, I would load up the order book, and back then there were thousands up and down the order book. I'd put in like 1,000 and 1,000. So say this liquidity is me, all right? And then I would sit there and start testing the water. I could put on up to 3,000 at my height, right? So I would start selling here. Remember, my bids are waiting down here, so I'd start selling a little bit, and I would see there would be no resistance. I'm like, okay, then I would step on the gas, I'd sell more, and I'd be doing it with a flurry. So then all these other retail traders would see this activity, and they would jump on my coattails, and they start selling, and then they would literally run the market right into my buy orders, and I'm out of the trade, right? And then what I would also do back then, spoofing was legal, so I would sell some, and then I would start loading the order book with offers, right? So it looked like not only was I selling some, remember this is just the big game, and this is how I know what's going on to this day, right? And those are my orders. I would start selling some. I put orders in the order book to make people think, oh man, look at all that supply. I'm going to sell with whoever's selling here. I would get my fill, and then I would yank my orders like a vacuum, and then I didn't care after I got filled what happened, and then the market would do one of those, right? Because there's nothing in the order book in the offer side. So that was a game I would play all day, every day as a scalper, right? This day and age, scalping is illegal, or spoofing is illegal. They still do it, but it's supposed to be illegal. But if you do it with size, you're gonna get in trouble, right? Spoofing means you don't have the intention of filling the order. So again, as that market would be moving down, I would load up the order book, right? I had no intention of filling. I didn't want to sell 3,000 or whatever I would put in the book. I just wanted to scare the market into my buy orders, right? And then I would yank them. So they can tell by the activity a lot of times of a trader whether they have the intentions of filling the order or not, right? That's why it's called spoofing. So it's illegal nowadays. But back then it was perfectly legal. And trust me, I was hated across, throughout the trading world, including my own firm, because I would just game the market all day long. I always tell the story. I was walking, I was actually going to the bathroom in my own firm. I was walking past the trader's office, and he's cussing me out. He's like, F you, Pulcini, blah, blah, blah. And I opened his door. I'm like, did I do something wrong to you? I'm just going to the bathroom. And they go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was you in the market, right? So that's the game. That's how dominant I was back then, is playing games, right? And my point is, these are not glory days stories. I'm trying to explain to you. That's how I understand what's going on in here many times with the resting liquidity and so on and so forth. It's just the same games played in a different way. And that's the other thing we can see. That's the beauty of Bookmap. You can see the games. You can look at this algo in here in NASDAQ, just whipsawing the market back and forth. They're putting them in, pulling them, putting them in, pulling them, putting them in, pulling them. In my definition, this is spoofing right here, right? They have no intention of filling it. They're just whipsawing the market back and forth. So again, that's what we guard against, waiting for volume events, because when nothing's going on, you just get these algo games. I don't want to participate. Nothing going on, meaning volume events. I don't want to participate in this nonsense, right? So I don't. That's why I wait for volume events to trade. All right, so this looks like it's coming back to the zone. I did not put the reversion trade on here. Again, it doesn't mean it's not going to work. It probably is going to work, because they work about 80% of the time, regardless. So if it does retest, as it's trying right now in Bookmap Bob, that's the zone drawer guy, and the sub-chart guy, is the computer voice. He's going to let me know when this retests. And here we go. It's coming right back. There you go. All right. And this is exactly what these markets are waiting for. This is definitely, it looks like a headline, right? This is why it's been so brutal, guys. You're in a trade. Say you were just long there, right? You're like, yeah, I'm long off this ice, whatever reason you want to trade the buy ice, right? I wasn't long. There you go. What was that? It's just so exhausting, right? This has been going on for months and months and months. You're in a great trade. There's a news story, and it just blows you out, right? So it's like this thing just swiped down. You can see the sweeps on here, right? So this is part of Global Plus too. That's why you want Global Plus as your Bookmap software, the basic software. So this thing just dropped. I mean, this is nothing. Yesterday, this exact market ripped 65 points on a Wall Street Journal fake news headline, right? See right here, this is exactly what's going on, guys. Like, it's just, you can't unless you're sitting next to Trump and he tells you he's going to say something, you can't predict it, right? That's this right here. How do you protect against this? You don't. You just hope that it's not contrary to your position. Boeing should start to fault China for not taking planes, right? And then the market sells off. Granted, this was a very benign sell-off, the sweep. But like yesterday, it wasn't even him talking. It was Wall Street Journal, probably some 17-year-old intern that decides to put the story out, and the market blows out how many traders. It's a joke. You can't protect against it besides having your stops in and hope that the headline's not against you. It's been very, very, very trying trade lately. So I continue to tell my trade room, if you're keeping your head above water right now, hold on, this actually is probably trading NASDAQ. You should be proud, because there's just nothing you can do. You just got to hope that a news headline doesn't come out. And lately, literally, the big money hasn't even been playing much in here with icebergs, because they've been blown out by these headlines. It's like it's ridiculous. But all right, this was a potential sexy Gexy. I may take this. It kind of blew through this. So he's still texting right now on True Social too. So it's like, most of the time you don't even know it's coming. He's I don't know if he rolls out of bed and he starts texting right now or what. It's always around this time he's on True Social. So if you want to trade, you just got to accept. If he says something that is contrary, these headline algos pick it up and rip it right in your face. So anyway, it did blow through this Gex level here. Say if it came down to this Gex 2 and I didn't get a new event, I might take the sexy Gexy. This is a little variation where I usually want to see the events right on top of the Gex levels. But if this like tags this, again, I'm rolling the dice here huge. You know, again, trading's hard enough, and it's already probabilities, right? Where, you know, not every trade's going to work, but then you got to deal with this nonsense where you could have the best trade on, and you get screwed. So I will consider a sexy gexy here. Let me get this going. I'm going to put on the micro because it's, you can see the volatility. The ATR is up to 40 now after that news stuff. So this did swipe down about 40 points. 30, 40 points here, which is actually, this is a pretty benign sweep compared to what we've seen lately on news headlines, but I might take a Gexy here. So again, what I was saying is, you know, most of the times I want to see like the stop run into, it's an opposing event. So stop runs are usually just retail trader pukes. That's exactly what that was. Those usually reverse, right? Because it's not, we got Russell stuff too, because it's not an initiative selling by like the bigger money, right? It's just guys puking. Doesn't mean it can't keep going, but most of the time it reverses. So I look for those moves in here. This one, I probably should have just jumped in right there. I'll give this a second. This one, again, the stop run happened above it, but if it holds here, I'm probably going to jump in this. I could put on 4 or 5. So I'll give this a second, right? I also use tick strike to help me determine if this thing's going to blow through these levels. And this is not a smart trade, regardless. So I'm gonna wait on this one just because he's chirping, right? I have no. He says another negative thing. This market's going to sell off at 100 points, like it's been doing nonstop. So I held off on that sexy gexy. What I could potentially take care of are reversions. Again, you see something's happening with crude too. You know, again, this one's in my favor, but so this is another gex level. I'm gonna get out a couple more of these puppies. I got 6 on them. All right, so you saw it just bounced off that blind spot, and hey, look at that! I can't believe that liquidity got filled down there. I think we talked about that, didn't we? Look at that, filled perfectly. This one's next. What does that mean? It just means they got their way. They usually do. See this? Guys, I'm telling you, it's brutal. Like, there's no way you can guard against this unless you know what he's going to say.
Trump's timeline for a deal may not work.
Oh, it's exhausting. Oh, we got Shinebox talking too from Mexico. That's always a treat too.
Was very good.
She never shuts up either. Guys, this is great for you to see though. I'm sure I'm not showing you anything new if you've been trading lately, but this is what it's like every single day, right? It's like if you're long crude right there, you're screwed. Just because he said something about Iran, Shinebox from Mexico, I call her Shinebox, it's Shine Bomb. She never shuts up either, and then it's like you're screwed. How do you predict that? You don't. It's really, really, really annoying though. I can't tell you how annoying it is. All right, I didn't do anything off of this. This is not confirmed yet either, so I don't know what I'm doing there. But this is a great example, right? It's like, I mean, someone's still coming in here buying, so we will trade off of this. I'm going to combine these two as well. So you saw more buy ice. So someone here is just shaking off this news headline and said, whatever, we're still going to buy. So we will trade off this newest event. But, you know, if you get... Another number coming on here too. If he keeps saying something negative, these guys that we're buying are toast, right? Like it's just this is why the big money hasn't really participating that much lately, because they're getting blown out like the rest of us, right? You're in a great trade and you're screwed. So you know, someone put in the other day, curious, the guy is talking about the ATR reversions, that he caught the news story that like worked for him on the reversion trades. It's like, that's great. You got lucky on that one, right? So it's like, you know, again, trading's probabilities in its own right, but you talk about, you might as well just go to the casino and roll the roulette wheel. Roll the ball on the roulette wheel. All right, regardless, so I want to see how this reacts here. If I'm going to take these reversion trades, it's still pretty hairy, because if he's still talking, I risk this just getting killed. Or, you know, if I'm taking the other way, we'll see what happens here. Position trading, though, this is an event. So what's step one? Step one is the event. Step two is figuring out what areas we're in to take the trades, right? All right, so this is a potential pick. If it failed, if this turns out to be a broken ice event, right? The market move. This is an old one. That's why it's pink or red or whatever color that is. but it's still, I think it's still relevant. Like the market's still reacting at it. That's when I keep them. You know, if the market keeps trading through something, and this goes for anything, ISI zone, market profile composites, you delete them. They're not effective anymore. This is still, to me, it looks like it's still effective. I would trade a pick here. So if this, we just saw the buy ice, it's at an important area. If this fails to the downside, I could take a pick short, right? If it moves higher, I could take a pick long. The picks are subjective as far as whether you want to take them first move out, right? At the out just outside of an ATR, that's called the aggressive entry, where I get in first move out, or you want to wait for one of those, right? So I'll take either one of these aggressive. But this is how you can judge too. I probably to the downside, I will wait for an ATR retest just because somebody is in here and continues to buy and is still in this area. So I'll still take a pick short, but I want to see boom, boom, boom. Right? Again, this is subjective as far as how you enter the pick trade. You could say, nah, it's failing there. I'm gonna go short. If it got down into this one, this guy, where it's tried again today, couldn't get in. If it comes down here again and I got an event, I'm taking that one aggressively first move into this zone because it's telling me something that it's tried to get in this multiple times, right? Yesterday, try to get in, and close basically right at it. Today it's out of it. If it comes back again, that's not a good sign. And we're also looking, this is the same type of look, just in a different manner. This balance would be failing, right? So this balance area, that came back, that would be failing and potential fail balance breakout. So I would take those picks aggressively. Again, I'm just setting it up if I see it. This is 40 points away. I don't know yet, but you know, if you're watching the market later this afternoon, keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, I would take a pick short. I need to see ATR retest. Algo guy is bullish, so I use this. This is called the exponential moving average ribbon. I have this. This is too high. Let's see. Yeah, ATR is 9, so I can probably bring this down a little bit. So I haven't, in the past, I haven't adjusted these at all, right? Usually the ES is a 10 tick algo guy. But with this volatility, I have to continue because it's just been ridiculous. Like we had a couple weeks ago, we had like a 60 ATR in ES. Well, a 10 tick algo guy is not going to cover it, right? You know, 9 is pretty high, but I think 9 is a good algo guy. Tick, yeah, that looks all right. All right, so algo guy's still bullish. So meaning this is my filter for bark and lick trades. Remember, the bark and lick is the ATR retest confirm in any area, but I need that algo guy in my direction. So shorts, I can't take that if it did ATR retest this way. That's what I was waiting for over here, remember? And actually, I can't take it off of this one too. So as long as this guy, the most recent event, we always default to, as long as this guy doesn't prove bearish, I can take the bark and lick off of that. It's already tested the ATR. It already came back. Remember the blind ATR retest confirm. So I could take the bark and licks off of this. That entry would be right there. If you hover over, you see it over here too, long aggressive. Actually, it's off of this zone. Take that back. So you have to go back because this is showing me, these numbers here are showing me the current zone. The prior zone though, that's that entry right there, 54, 76, 75. So I will put on a bark and lick, and I might be able to put on that pick off of that guy that we were just talking about. It's real close. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll take it. So off of this event, this prior event, this is a variation, right? ATR retest confirm. I'll put on bark. I'll put on lick. There's liquidity up here. I'm sure there's more up there too. And I'll put on a pick because it'll be getting in that market profile composite. Then, say this turns bullish, I could put on the same trades off of this guy. So I had double size on, and I'm just trailing my stop to the most recent event. So if that comes back, again, that entry was 76, 75. I'm sure the sizing is about the same. So the sizing bases off the size of the zone and the current volatility. Very important that you're not over trading your account. I could put on 0.4 of a big contract, right? Obviously, you can't do that. I put on 4 micros. This is risking $500 on a trade. 76, 75, bark, lick, and pick. Hope you guys are enjoying my behind the head cam. I just thought I'd show you guys what I'm looking at. The 85 screens that I have. All right, so that is that. That's the wrong. Bark. you guys got questions, throw them. I haven't looked lately, but
Sources, Trump is expected to sign the executive order today to advance the deep sea.
I wonder if he's going to be talking. Bark, lick, and pick. Pick is... All right, those are working. And then I could potentially take reversions back too. We'll see what happens up here. But for position trading strategies that already tested the ATR, came back to the zone right there on the news, the headline, right? Comes back out, I'm taking bark, I'm taking lick, and I'm taking the pick trade. Then I can watch out for reversion trades too coming back. These are different accounts that I have these set up on, right? I'm not trading it all on one account. You can see this liquidity up here. So this would be the lick that I'm trading to. So the bark and lick are the same trade, waiting for the pattern. The bark I'll get out, like, you know, at some of the GEX levels. We saw that in crude, different areas. The lick I'm holding to the major liquidity, regardless, right? So it's either liquidity or bust, or I stop out, or an opposing event that I trail it to. So if I do get this trade on, this is the liquidity I'm looking at. I'll hold that trade all the way up to 5,500, where this, you can see that resting liquidity right on this GEX level. All right, so those are working. Now we wait. If it moves lower, then we can take reversion trades back this way and a potential pick, so on and so forth. So we'll cover that if it happens. NQ still has not validated out of this zone either way. I was going to take the sexy GEX here, and I chickened out. That would have been in right there. Went a little lower. Again, this is when he was still chirping or posting or whatever. I just didn't have the cojones to put that one on, but that's definitely working right now. In the meantime, I don't know what this is yet, but let's see. There is, we're in. Should have done this right away because NASDAQ moves the fastest. So you can see this is, this bar looks weird for this move down. 19,100. This is trying to break out of this balance too, right? But the relative volume is nothing right now, so there's no breaking away trade. This is an Izzy zone, but it's, the market came like this. These Izzies, I want to play fades into them. This market came back with a stop run. It's just sitting in the zone, right? So there's no Izzy for me here.
Sometimes you do see an early release on either the composite or manufacturing.
As far as market profile composite, nothing here either. So there's nothing for me to take aggressive longs out of here. But if this turns bullish, as I'm sure Algo Guy is bullish as well. Looks like this is, I got this, what's the normal for this, 25? I can lower this too. Again, I've never done this up until lately, when the ATR was 200 last week or a couple weeks ago. This is supposed to be 25. So let's see what this looks like. That doesn't look, there we go. All right, so if this does confirm, actually this is a red rum too. What's a red rum? It's just another trading strategy. It's the volume event in an important area. So the market moved into the red ribbon here. This is the longer term exponential moving average ribbons. These are just time periods. The blue is the shorter term. Market did move in here, went a little bit through it. But if this moves back out, I'm going to take a red rum long. Those are aggressive, meaning first move out. I don't need to wait for the ATR retest confirm. So if this moves out of here, I'm putting on a red rum long aggressive. Here's your entry, 177.50. That's that. And then if it did this, which it probably will, because it does about 80% of the time or more, I'll put on bark and licks as well. See if there's heavy resting liquidity up here. And there sure is, right there at a gamma level. So you can see there's different trades. So remember in the beginning of the webinar, I didn't put on any longs on the ES because they weren't fitting my trading strategy. Well, this one I could put on aggressive first move out in case it does not retest. At least I have something on. So this will be the red rum. That's that. And then based on the current volatility, risking $500. That's what the zone drawing tool is. Again, you can plug all this stuff in. This is the Scott zones. You can get on the Bookmap marketplace. It's in that document I posted. But if you come in here, if I can find the damn thing, can't read today. You come in here and you put in your risk. So I put in 5. These are all Apex accounts that I have different strategies applied to. I'm risking 10%. Again, don't risk 10% of your real account. Risk 2% if you have to trade your mortgage, your mortgage money. But I'm risking $500. So you can plug that into whatever account size you have and then what you want to risk, and it tells you your exact sizing. This is one of the biggest mistakes traders make is over trading their accounts. That you're just trading too big for what you can lose, and you're gonna blow out eventually. You're gonna get a headline up here, you know what, one of these times, and you're gonna blow out. So trade the appropriate size. So I can put on 2 micros, basically risking $500. Red rum entries 19,178. Red rum, red rum. And then if it does the retest confirm, then I'll put on Barks and Licks as well. All right, I'll answer questions here.
-5, -5.
And I have no idea if Trump's still talking or not. I mean, you're never going to know, so unless you're sitting next to him. 78 quarter now is the entry. All right, that is working. But you see, I got out in crude, by the way. This is why I got out of some of these GEX levels. Right? It's already retested, by the way, so I'm not going to take... I look for one retest of the zone. So you could be saying, well, why do you take the reversion trade coming back off of that? Well, because I already retested, so I'm not... I only look for one retest. Doesn't mean it's not going to retest again, but I look for one. Anyway, I got out of 2 more down here, and that was the right call, and that was that important 62 area that we're watching, right? That's exactly where it bounced. Right at the high volume node of that dude, and it put in a buying tail. So if it comes back again, that's where I'm going to fire on shorts. We'll see. But I did get out at that GEX level. All right, let's see if you guys got questions.
The reviews to find that all tools remain appropriate.
Home at Designs. Where can we access these courses? In the link directly above your quote. Click on this link right there. Here's the new courses. Or go to my website. Right, everything on there is on my website. Right, so it's basically the courses, discounts. There's the 2 new courses right there. The rest of these are all discounts. This, you can get a discount to the zone drawing tool that you've been watching me use the entire time. You got to be member my TradeRoom for that. You get 20% off of that. Here's the mentor Q levels. This is for the monthly. I don't have the yearly. He's got 40% off the yearly. If you want that, just email me and I'll give you the code for that. Here's the Apex. Use Pulcini 50 for any sale right now. They got 90% off. I would highly recommend you take advantage of that. I think it's through tonight. That means you can get these. We'll go over Apex a little later, but it's a great way to work on your trading. You're not risking your own money until you understand what you're doing. And then if you do well, you're qualified anyway with their money. Your spot gamma, tick strike. Actually, I do have tick strike up, but it's not really doing anything right now. And then Trader Sync to journal your trade. So all of these banners, just click on them, have discounts, and then these are the 2 new courses. And then my main course, the driver of my trading, is this ATR reversion course. That's this guy. This has been out for a few years. It's the same. We're using the same 6 distinct setups, right? 6 distinct trading setups. So that's what I was talking about: the Titanic, the Broken Ice, the Dumb and Dumber, Stop and Hold, Step Bro, or Double Whammy, and Step Bros. Step Bros is a unicorn. You don't see it very often. It's when you get buy ice and stops in the same direction. All right, what am I missing here? So this was I don't know if I missed a trade here or not. It doesn't look like it. So this did the retest, right? There's your retest confirmed, but Algo Guy was bearish at the time, so I wouldn't have taken that trade. I probably could have taken an Izzy here, though. I'm just looking at what I missed, so I can complain. This was an Izzy, right? So the market moved down into this inflection zone. That was the event. It was a little through it, but again, these are zones. They're not exact prices. I would have taken that long. Flat out missed it. That's this guy. So if I was watching this is right when I got on the webinar, right? So I missed this. That was into the inflection zone. I would have taken this first move out. It did a retest anyway, but I would have been long there. Stops down here, the other yellow line. So again, if you go long, there's your entry. This yellow line, it's just 115% of an ATR, and then your stops down here. This is position trading. I would have put on that Izzy, and I would have definitely got out at some of these. You got multiple things here. You got a prior event, and you can see that's right where it stopped. This is where I get out these areas. So all these areas I'm talking about are in this document. This is what you get as part of my room as well. This is straight out of Trading in the Zone, but I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. So you saw me get out of some of the crude stuff. I got out at the market profile composite low right there. I got out of some at the method Q level. So these are all areas that I initiate trades at, and where I get out if the market moves in my favor. So this one would have been a GEX level. Again, I did not put this on because it was a huge winner immediately, and I don't like those. I like the ones that torture you for 17 hours. Anyway, I would have been out of some there, and even more there. So this would have been an awesome trade. Hopefully my room caught that. I just missed it because I was getting on the webinar, but that was a whopper. And this is what? You're in here, 68. This is a 170 tick trade up into this prior event here. So that was a very nice trade. As far as reversion trades, looks like I missed something here too. There's the 1, the 2. This looks like, where's the 3? Can't see the 3 entry on here because all this algo nonsense. Again, when the market looks like a Christmas tree, it's algos just playing games with everybody. Where was the 3 entry? Oh, right there. So that was the 3. As long as the stop was 3, I would have taken this too. Actually, we're here right now. I'm going to take this. I'll take it on here. All right, so I kind of missed this, but I'm still taking it. So the A plus reversion, that's the entry. That's where I just got in. And the stop is, actually this is kind of in the zone now. So the A plusers is when, remember we already know, actually I can't take this. I got to get out of this trade. Sorry. Why? What did I just do wrong there? I just explained this in the crude. This already retested, right? So hopefully my room caught that. I'm surprised no one was calling me out on that. I'm not waiting for another retest. It already retested. So that was an error. So I almost cost myself some dough on that one. Anyway, say this didn't retest. The 3 ATR reversion was in front of the zone as long as the stop at the time was outside of it. That's that dash dotted. That's the trade. But it's not, it wasn't a trade here because it already retested the zone. I'm just looking for the first retest then. That's it. So that was almost a mistake. I did miss a whopper long there, position trading though. That's not surprising. All right, so on to NASDAQ. This is about to confirm bullish. Remember, I got the red rum on here. If it tags this, I'm going to be in aggressively. And then if it goes ATR retest confirm, and I'll put on bark and leg. Well, I was getting your questions, and I got sidetracked there. So anyway, those are the courses. Oh, that's why I got sidetracked, because someone was asking. So it's in that doc. Could you guys not see that doc? If you can't see the doc, let me know. Everything is in that document. Now buy, what is that? Is this NQ or ES? I'm covering both. We talked about ES earlier, and we're talking about NQ. I haven't caught one of your classes in a while, but everything you say just hits the nail on the head. And what's been happening to me the past couple weeks, getting blown out of the water. Of course, I mean it's really easy to do, guys. I mean you can't control it. It's either you don't trade basically for the next 4 years while Trump's still president. I'm hoping once the tariff stuff is, once that is resolved, if it becomes resolved, then it's not going to have such a bearing. It's just, there's nothing you can do. You put on the trade and hope you don't get screwed. And I've been screwed out of probably 90% of my trades. It's ridiculous. Mark Hugh, where do we get that ribbon indicator? It looks like Thinkorswim chart indicator. So that is on Thinkorswim. This is called Algo Guy. You can get it on Thinkorswim. We have the settings as part of my trade room. You can get that, but you just go to their studies. You can find it. It's called Exponential Moving Average Ribbon, and then there's also I'll post this too. I usually post this guy. Let's see. So I'll post this in the YouTube as well. This explains what it is, and there's different strategies. You can come up with like 10 strategies on this thing too. So that's this guy. I'll post right here. This guy right here, Exponential Moving Average Ribbon. I will copy that. I'll put it in the YouTube as well. You can read all about it. I don't know if they have the settings in there or not, but hold on, I can't find what I did with the YouTube. Here we go. All right, that's posted. And guys, give it a like. Like, no one ever likes the video. Like, I'm giving you guys incredible information. How about liking it for Bookmap? That helps them with their SEO stuff. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but I know it helps. So how about giving me a like if you're in here? Like, I'm giving you guys the strongest edge I've ever seen in my career. How about a thumbs up? Anyway, I just got filled in this red rum, right? First move out. That was back into that exponential moving average red ribbon. And I just filled on. So here we go. Now what I can do here, on the red rum I just filled on long, remember my stop was way down here, got a new event, now my stop's right there. I got to make a decision if I want to stop out in this prior event or move it below. We're talking 40 extra points. So I will just, I don't know if I want to risk 40 extra points here, but looks very bullish, right? The market, as far as structure, we're breaking out of ES and NQ, those balance areas. So I don't want to stop out in the middle zone, so I'll put my stop just below. I'm still saving myself a lot of points here. I'm still saving 50 points of risk, but I'll put it below this zone versus here. This is where I should step out of this trade if it comes back. I'm going to move it below this zone. I'll put it at 07 quarter. But I'm currently long red rum. What else did I do in ES? I forgot what I had. All right, looks like I put on Bark Lick. Yeah, okay, now I remember. So I'm filled on all these longs in ES as well. We just went over this. Something's going on with this tick strike. Let me, I thought it was not working correctly. All right, so, all right, here we are. So I'm gonna get, if this struggles here, I got 6 on, I'm gonna get out of 2 here. If it can't get through here. This is just an area that we just talked about this. All right, I'm gonna get out of 2. I'm keeping the lick on full size, but I'm gonna get out of 2 of these if it's starting to struggle a little bit. I see how I struggled at this 1 day max, and I can put on these reversion trades too if this comes back. All right, so I got out of just 2, so I entered here, just went over this. I went long Bark and Lick and Pick there, 76 quarter. This is already 7 points, 6, 7 points. It's kind of struggling here. If it comes back, I got out of some. If it blows through here, great. I still have some on. This is why I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. That's why I get out as the market makes money available. This is already a 7-point winner. I'm out of some, right? Remember, for the lick trade, though, remember I was looking at this liquidity up here. See this big blob? That's where the lick trades. I'm holding that lick trade until it gets there. So now talk about risk-reward. Now, that's a great risk-reward, right? It's 25 points away. You can see they're buying all this stuff. Let's turn this on so we can... Should be getting a news headline here any minute to blow me out of these trades, so can't wait for that. Curious, yes. 1 day max and blind spot, yes. No bounce passing through. So what I could do, what he's saying is I could put on these reversion trades here if this starts to fail. The two ATR reversion is right, we're talking back to this zone. It's right there, so it's not really a back in black, but I would take, if this starts to fail, I'll take the one coming back. Other than that, I'm long position trading. So I'm going from strategy to strategy, right? Because this is not officially retested yet. So it finally hit the ATR right there. Now I can play retest. But you can see, this is how you use tick strike in your favor too. I'm amazed that you guys don't use the tick strike. Market Pulse is a Bookmap version of tick strike. It's tick strike on steroids. But this is also, I've been using this for 15 years, right? It just lets me know, if you're these things are all going crazy at these levels. This looks like this may fail. Remember, I already got out of some. But if these things are going crazy, you can try to hold and not get out at these areas, right? That's the best judge. And you can look at the bubbles too. I mean, they are selling, market selling here, but it doesn't mean it's going to stop. I don't really pay attention to the bubbles. It's just market orders. But yeah, if you start seeing nothing but red at these levels, get out of some. I already got out of some, so I'm fine. If this comes back to this reversion line, I'm going to put on the 1 ATR reversion here. And you can see here's the 1 ATR. I can put on one guy. So I'm going to be putting on right into that X3 level, but that's all right.
It's for 4 week bills, $279.3 million.
So that's the reversion trade. I'll take the 1 ATR short. I could put on this one, but it's not really. Again, I want to put on back in blacks, meaning it bounces off something and comes back. The entry's right here. So I'm not going to put that one on. If it starts to come back, I'll put on the 1 reversion. I'll be out of the zone. So this is a very automated trade. You're like your own algo. If you can learn to do these, because most traders have a hard time sitting in position trades because it does this so often. Well, if you can put on these religiously, you're in there, you're out there, and you don't change you don't like say, oh, this is close enough, I'm out, and you just let it work and get out where you're supposed to. This helps condition you for when you do position trade, you can see your trades, because that's where most traders can't do. That's why it's so hard mentally to trade, because especially if you have your P&L up and you're watching your P&L go back and forth on the whipsaw, which is 80-90% of the trade most times with these algos whipsawing, it's hard to sit through that stuff, and then you make stupid decisions. If you can train yourself on the ATR trade, then you have a huge advantage for your position trading. Hold on, I was getting to these other questions here. I keep losing my... not it. That's not it.
And Bank of England's data says firms are putting off investment and consumers are uncertain. So
Mark Q, where do we get the ribbon indicator? I just said that. That's Thinkorswim. Can you put the link for that indicator? I put in the, it's just exponential moving average. Watch that video. I think they talk about it in there too. If you were to begin over today, where would you start? Where would I start? Well, this stuff, again, the Stop Iceberg stuff is the most powerful stuff I've ever seen, right? So again, in that document that I posted, guys, this is all in here. I'm gonna have a better version of this too, where it's not just links. It's gonna be like a book, like a page book. I'll have that for next week. But if you go to this, why can't I scroll up here? Go to this document right here. It's everything you need. So if you want to start, and I'll have this in order. So again, this is very like it's all over the place. I understand this, right? I gotta have a better presentation for this. You want to get Bookmap.
We all focused on the growth shock from tariffs.
Who's talking? Is that? I think it's ECB guy. You want to get Bookmap. You want to get the basic. This is the software. You get discount. Everything in here is a discount, right? So get this one. Click on that link. I would get Global Plus. This discount is only for Global Plus because you get the sweeps. You want the sweep among other things, right? So that's that. Then you need the MBO. This is the enhanced data that shows you the Stop Icebergs information as well as other stuff. So Stop Iceberg subchart, on chart. You need this to have the zone drawing anyway. That's my tool. That's my add-on. Liquidity tracker, Trader Map Pro, Market Pulse, right? So we'll go over this stuff. But that's to get that. You need those two things, right, to get started. You have to have them, guys. I know people complain like, "Oh my God, I've got so much. I'm spending so much a month." There's certain things you guys can avoid paying for, right? That's why I like cutting costs too. That's why I use Thinkorswim. You don't have to pay for it. You have to put some money in the account. You can pull it out, and you still have access to this stuff, right? There's other things you got to pay for. Like if you want the information, this MBO data, this is the enhanced data by the CME. Again, Google CME MBO, and it explains this new enhanced data. It's not new anymore. It's been around for 8 years. They're basically giving the retail trader insight into what's going on with these bigger players. The bigger players can't like it very much, but they got to a point, and again, this is just my guess of why they did it, 2016, 17-ish, like the retail trader was dying because it was so hard because these algos just run the show. So it was algo versus algo in here. Well, they don't like that. They want to take the retail trader. That's the easy money, right? They don't want to be going against I'm about to get filled on this reversion trade, by the way, the back in black off of this one-day max. I could have taken that one too, but I didn't, so I'll take this one. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they made a deal with these big firms. This is my guess. It's my opinion. Don't know for sure. They're like, listen, if you want the retail traders in there, we got to throw them some kind of bone so they can compete, or else there's not going to be anyone left for you guys to take the money. If you don't think that's what's happening, guys, I say it every day. This is a zero-sum game. They are in here to take your money. That's the bottom line. Anyway, we can see this information with the enhanced data, and it's the most powerful information I've ever seen. So that is why, and again, I've been trading 25 years. I've watched millions and millions and millions. I've made millions and lost millions and watched millions of contracts come through the order book. This stuff is the most powerful thing you can ever use. Again, I have certain areas I look for this stuff. You may have your own areas. Great. You may be a profitable trader. Great. I can tell you if you're not using this, you don't have all the information. I say it every single time. Great. You do great. You do great as it is. I will tell you if you understand this stuff and how the markets trade around it, you're going to do even better. Way better. Right? So, you can take my word for it or not. But I'm telling you, this is the most powerful thing I've ever seen. That's why I don't put on a trade unless I see this activity. So anyway, you need those two things, and then the rest of the stuff. So this is another thing I get too, like, oh my God, you got so much stuff here. I can't afford all that. You don't have to get all this stuff. This is the stuff that I use in my trading, right? As you get accustomed to the basics, then you can start adding like the method Q levels. And so there is the yearly in here, by the way, the 40% off, spot gamma, all this stuff. You don't have to have all of it right off the bat, right? But then like the courses. So again, the courses, I go over this stuff every day. Everything that's in the courses, I go over live trading. But I'm trading live. You can see, and I'm trading multiple products. As you've seen today, I'm trading multiple strategies. So it's very hard to follow if you don't know what you're watching, if you're a first timer or even if you've been in here 10 times, because I'm trading live. If you get the course stuff, the trading strategy course, the ATR reversion course, the stop iceberg indicator course, which is the driver. Then you can understand it, and then when you watch me trade, you can follow, right? You can learn it as it is, but it's going to take you some time. And I hear all the time, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Sorry guys, I'm trading live. Like, I don't have time to break down the basics of every trade that I take, right? I do my best. I didn't get filled on this reversion, by the way, yet. This back in black. Any other questions on that? Let's see here. So, guys, this is how the trade's been. Like, it does nothing, and then it rips off the base like it's waiting for headlines. That's what it's doing. Why do I keep losing my YouTube here? All right, I missed some stuff in Russell earlier too. Again, this is my trading life. Every time I miss a trade, it's just a whopper winner. This looks like an A+ reversion, actually. Let's see. This is. I'll put it on this account though, because this is the trading firm account, and it's already running. So this is running automated. This exact strategy at a trading firm board. I don't have to do anything. It just does it on its own. So this is the definition of an A+ reversion. Event. Here's your 1 ATR. If it's into the prior event or before, as long as your stop's outside of it, that's what that is. You take that trade. And you actually have, do I not have the GEX level? Yeah, the GEX level's here. Actually, I would combine these two too. Hold on. So that's another thing about this zone drawing tool. You can combine some. I'm missing this trade. Hold on. Hold on, Russell. Don't be running away on me.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right. I took that 1 ATR reversion to A+. So I'm in right there. It was into this prior event. The stops through the event. This is why it's A+. Again, the reversions work on their own. This is just extra layer of security, if you will, a better probability. Again, I don't want to buy there because I don't have it on there. My exit here is 1943.9. So I put on the 1 ATR, A+ reversion, and I was able to put on 11. Actually, I put on 15, but so we'll see what happens here. And I just filled on the reversion in ES too. So I filled there. Again, I didn't put on the 2. You could have. It was right at that 1-day max. I didn't put that on. I'm sure Curious put that on. He's the guy that takes the aggressive ones in the room. And then I'm out at the zone. Now I let this work, right? Like, this may come real close. I may come like this and then do this. This is the one I had on yesterday, by the way, in Dow, and it looked just golden. It was like 10 ticks away. And the Wall Street Journal comes out with fake news, and it ripped 350 points. So that was a blast. That's been happening nonstop. So I'm just hoping I can get filled on this before the next headline, which is 100% going to be against the position. I laugh, but I really don't laugh. I was going on till yesterday. It gets old after, it happens 400 times. It gets really old. All right, so letting that work. Remember, I'm still long my positions too. Bark and Lick, I got at some up here. That's still working, and then I'm short the reversion trade. So again, you want to have different accounts. I highly recommend the Apex stuffs. 1, if you're just learning what this stuff is. 2, you can assign different accounts to different strategies, right? That's. Oh, that was a Fed dude talking? All right, he's finished anyway, so Trump should be out any minute to blow out my trade here, so get ready. Don't mean to be a negative Nelly, but it's ridiculous. It's just exhausting. What was I going to show here? I forgot I was going to show you. Oh, Apex. So that's down here. Apex. Use Pulcini 50 for any discount. Right now they got 90% off. It's through tonight. I would take advantage of it. That means you can get one of these accounts for $29, right? So again, guys, a lot of traders can't trade sim the same they trade regularly, right? Because they just don't make the same decisions. They're like, who cares? It's not real money. This is like trading sim, but you have some skin in the game. I don't care. It's $29 versus, it's normally $297. It's 90% off, so it's $29 to do this, right? I don't care. For me, I could trade sim and it feels the same to me. It's about being right or wrong. Some traders can't. Well, when you do one of these, even if it's $29, you still have some skin in the game. You still don't want to whip out your credit card for another $29, right? So you're going to treat it like a real account, or you should anyway, unless you like throwing money out the window, right? So those are the best ways to, one, have some skin in the game as you learn, and then if you do well, you're funded anyway, right? So that's my recommendation. So my stop for this one ATR, by the way, is up here at 1950.9. Again, I'm waiting any minute for some kind of headline to blow me out of this, like yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. So that's why you need to get this stuff in right away. I made a big mistake not putting this stuff in, right? Like, because the headline comes out, this thing's going to rip off the page. All right, so I just missed potential reversion here. I could have taken that guy. This is NASDAQ. So remember, I'm long NASDAQ red rum. Well, I was long off of that. I can trail my stop to that. Remember, it was there. That's the yellow line. I moved it below the zone. So that's still on. And I don't even know what that is yet. I could potentially take in an A+ reversion there. I mean, not A+. Actually, it was an A+. To take that back. So this was an A+ reversion. Here's the entry. Here's your stop through the zone. So I just missed that trade. I'm hoping that didn't tag that. I'm sure it did to the tick. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Oh, shocker. Right there. Look at that. So that was an A+ reversion. I missed it. If it comes down there again, I'll probably put that in. I mean, I might not have got filled. It just barely brushed it. So if that comes down there, I'll take the A+ reversion. 19,147.75, and I could put on 6. There, come on, you can do it. Come on. You little piglets.
Order filled.
All right, I got that up.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right, so I took that. Let's see, this looks like more. All right, I filled out the other ones, but this looks like another news headline. Like, it's not that every move's a news headline, but you can just tell by the way it starts to trade, right? Like, it's so fast. So the one ATR did work here. It just got out. This was ES. The Russell should be close to working too. Oh yeah, I filled on that. So both of these A+, or both of these reversions work, right? And now I'm long the reversion in NQ. So that was that guy. Back to the zone, pretty much exactly. Surprise, surprise, I'm out of that trade. So guys, this is a great scalping trade if you want to scalp. I don't recommend any other type of scalping in these algo-ridden markets. That is the best in and out type of trade you're going to get as far as I'm concerned. And again, I used to be one of the biggest scalpers on the planet, and you can't do it. So this is this. I'm filled on this guy. I'll be out at 176. So I'm just playing for a move back to the zone. All right. So you can see that at the times that there's nothing going on, when it's just you're taking advantage of the algos playing games. Now you want them to be whipsawing the market, right? Because we're in here, I'm out there. See if we get filled. I got both of the reversions in Russell and ES work. So again, this is one of the new courses that I just made. If you want to learn the rules behind it, that's this guy right here. The ATR reversion course. You can get it on my website or the Bookmap Marketplace. The rules behind it. All right, what time is it? All right, we're almost at the time. Let's see if you guys get any other questions. I've lost my YouTube. That's not it. I don't know why I keep losing. I don't know what happened to the YouTube channel. Hold on, let me do this real quick. See if you guys get any other questions before I hop off here. But, nothing's really going on. I mean, I'm still long, and I'm still long on NASDAQ. I'm long the reversion, and I'm long that red rum. My stop's down here. And the stop for the reversion's down here, too. I got to put that in. I keep forgetting to put this stuff in. It's the first thing you need to do in these markets, guys. Is you should always do it, but especially with the headlines. It's insanity. Again, this is looking like something came out. I have no idea. Again, we're always less to know anyway. It doesn't really matter. Something came out. I'm in this trade. So both of the shorts work. So I can't bitch too much if I get stopped out of this one. Guys, it's probabilities. It's trading. You keep putting them on, right? This one may lose, but I just took 2 winners. See? You hear me? You get me? See, it's more headlines. There's just Putin's talking now. You can't control it. It's just, like I said, it's exhausting. right, let me get back on this channel, see if you guys got any other questions here. Thank you so much. You got a thumbs up from me. Thanks. Hey, I got 30 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Please do that every time. That helps the Bookmap channel, right? Again, I know nothing about SEO, but I know it helps. Curious, Netsy's in the room, alerting to you guys and the A-plusers. All right, so I'm still in this guy. If it comes back, I'm out right at the zone, and I'm still long. So I could have potentially taken bark and lick off of this, but I can't. Why? Because this most recent event just proved bearish. So I could be putting on shorts here for other strategies. Was this an Izzy? Let's just take a quick look before I hop off here. I wouldn't be filling right here anyway. I'm going to fill when it gets through the zone because I don't want to stop out or fill in those. Same reason I got the stop. This is an Izzy trade, right? Here's your Izzy zone. Here's your move into the zone. I will wait for ATR retest confirm. This is variation number 1 because it is breaking above balance. I don't want to just play fades in these zones if it's breaking above balance. I'll still take it, but I need to see ATR retest confirm. And what I'm referring to here, this is again part of the trading strategies. Where's it at? Where am I at here? I lost my chart. There it is. Right here. Variation number 1. Take fade trades with moves into prior inflection zones. Variation number 1. In the case of a zone that's directly above, in this case it's directly above multi-day balance, trade can still be taken but needs an ATR retest confirm. Right? So I normally jump in my Izzy trades first move out. This one is breaking above that balance that we've been talking about all morning. So I will still take the Izzy short if it goes ATR retest confirm. Again, that's supposed to be your entry. I would move it out here, just like I have my stop for the long outside of this. I don't want to stop out in this prior event. Plus, you got all these GEX levels too. You're better off putting it down here so you don't get stopped out. You know, I could take this trade too here. Hold on. This is a back in black. Why is this not buying? Why? I don't know why this is not buying for me. Well, you know why I didn't start it, that's why. Hold on, NASDAQ. All right, so what did I do here? So again, the A plus I already put on. This is also a back in black. So I tagged these GEX levels and came back, so I'm putting on a back in black here too. So this is a different type of reversion. And then that stops right here. All right, so again, I'm long red rum still. And I put on 2 different reversion trades back to the zone. I'll be out at this. Again, this is a 10% of an ATR in front of the volume event. That's where I get out. And then say this turns bearish, I'll stop out of my longs. This is the reversion stop, by the way, down here. That's this red dashed dotted line. But I'll stop out of my longs and I'll take an Izzy short. Again, I'm going back and forth so you guys can understand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, your head's spinning. That's why you want to get the courses so you can follow along and do well. All right. Thank you. Curious, I figured it out. All right, guys. I mean, not a ton going on, but we took advantage of the whipsaw nonsense. Again, I'm just waiting for a headline to come out and blow them out of these other ones. But whatever did come out there helped me with this reversion trade. So I guess I can't bitch too much today yet. I'll find a reason to complain. And we'll stay on for 1 more minute, see if we can get the fill on this. So this is what I'm talking about, right? How many traders, again, these webinars are not made for you guys to mirror my trading. It's to learn how to do this for yourself. But how many are in this like, oh, that's good enough, I'm out. If you want to become a good trader, you let this thing work up until the fill, right? It's a different story. Say you had GEX levels right in front of me here, then I say, okay, yeah, you can get out, in front of it. But you let this work. If it comes all the way back, it comes all the way back. This is how you condition yourself to sit through the algo nonsense, right? See, like that, like it sucks. I'm not saying it's fun to watch, but you got to follow your rules. An algo doesn't decide, oh, this is good enough. An algo has distinct entry exits. So trade like an algo if you want to beat the algos. All right, I'm out of gas, and I'm still short crude. Remember, watch this 62 level. I'll be firing on shorts double size if it gets below there in those trading strategies we covered earlier. I do this every day in my trade room, twice a day. Come on by and learn the best edge on the planet, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Thanks.